How do I flip a house off Zillow for $30,000 in less than a week? What? This is a good one. With no money, no credit, and without leaving the MF in the motherfucking crib. I don't even need to ask. I know who wrote that. How's it going, guys? Awesome Mayo. Rhymes with KO. I was going to say that. You didn't even need to put this out there. BigRia.com. Make sure you go there. With today's class, how do I flip a house off Zillow, make 30 grand in less than a week? Has anyone done that in less than a week? Did anyone done that last week? The fastest we've had this has been in like 4 days, 5 days. You can do this easy in less than a week. I would say 30 days just to be safe. 30 days. No money, no credit, without leaving your house, without leaving the crib. BigRia.com are the world's #1 site for building the world's largest organization of special needs business owners. The #1 channel on YouTube for Indiana real estate, creating the world's clearest instructions on how anybody can start from zero and create a passive income of at least 30 grand a month. Check it out. BigRia.com. Awesome Mayo. Rhymes with KO. Did I say that already? You know who it is. The supermodel turned YouTube star. It's like, what was it, like 77? Oh, I said 76 views, like 77 now. It's going to my head. How do I flip a house off Zillow for $30,000 a month in less than a week? Or how do I flip a house off Zillow for 30 grand in less than a week? There's a few ways to do this. Right now we're going to talk about one, which is the 7 steps to flipping a house off Zillow for 30 grand. The secret of a new home builder, right? Okay, real simple. 7 steps to go through. It's really easy. We've covered this in a few different videos. Check out Anna's videos on how flipping houses, how we've had several heroes do this. She made a video where she walked you through everything, actually put the actual emails and the scripting that we use in that video that she made. There's a few videos we made about this, but I'm going to walk you through. Here are the 7 steps, really easy, A to Z. This is very, very simple. All right, so number 1, we start with the GXM. Always do a GXM. If you don't know what to do, just volunteer. So we talk to a new home builder. Remember, there's different kinds of home builders. There's basically 3 main home builders. One is like the new, like Centex or Ryland or Pulte, right? These are people that are building neighborhoods and they're building these houses and they're in neighborhoods. It's very obvious. That's not what we're talking about. Number 2 is like a custom home builder. So you go and you hire a builder and you say, hey, build me this house. They build a house just for you. As soon as they break ground, they know that you're the buyer. You've already put money down and they're building a custom home for you. That's not what we want either. The third is a spec home builder, and that is who we want. These are people who are basically, they go on the market and they buy they're building a house that's speculation, basically. They're just going to put it on the market and they're going to hope it sells. They're going to build a house that's kind of like houses that are selling. Maybe they've sold other houses, but they're just speculating. They're on the market. Those are the builders we're looking for. So you find one of those builders, which we've talked about in that video, how to find them. Really easy to find them off Zillow, off of Trulia, any of these websites, houses that were built or completed recently. And very few people sell their home as soon as they buy it, especially if it's a new construction home in the first year. It becomes very hard because you're competing with the builder. So it's easy to find new home builders. Look for signs, areas, people that you know who the new home builders are. You can also talk to realtors, but you can find them online pretty easily to find those builders. We've talked about how to find them. I won't talk about that much today. So you find one, you do a GXM. You just say, hey, you've got a house here that you're trying to sell. Why don't we do a little marketing experiment over the weekend, see how many buyers we can get coming to you. Simple, easy breezy. So a question somebody has had, a few people have had, is what about the agent, working with as an agent? You could tell the new home builder from the very beginning what you plan on doing, but you can say, right now, I just want to build a relationship, help you out, and see how well this helps or improves the response you get from your marketing. Now, later on, you're going to talk about these other steps with them. This is one way to use the new home builder model. This is the many other ways we've talked about in many other videos, but you could talk to them up front and say, hey, this is what I plan on doing. Ask them what they think about your real estate license. If they think you should get one, you should get one. If you don't think you should get one, don't get one. It's your choice, but don't let that stop you from getting this going, because you can do all of it. Just do it for free. And you know that, you know what, I would have made $30,000, $40,000. That's a lot better to go get your license knowing that you're going to make 10, 20, 30 grand a month as soon as you get your license. So that's not an issue. I'm not saying don't get one or get one. Just go out, and the number one thing you want to do is help these local companies, help these buyers get these things going. So when you put out signs, by the way, all you're doing is putting out signs. An assistant can do that. So you don't need a license for that. You're just helping the builder out, and you're helping them you're doing a market experiment. So that's number 1, the GXM with the new home builder, to get a bunch of buyers calling off of a new home builder. How do you get buyers calling? There's a lot of ways, like auctions and things like that we've talked about in other videos, but this is going to be forever if I keep mentioning everything. So you should know how to do a GXM if you go through our stuff. Number 2, you screen buyers until you have one okay, it's a B+ area. Here's how this works. So you can do this, a lot of heroes doing this in Carmel, Indiana, and you can look, Carmel, Indiana is pretty hot right now. There's certain areas like 1 million, 1.2, 1.5 million, but if you go right outside of these hot areas, you can get a house for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. That's what you need to find. So out of the group of buyers that call, you're looking for buyers. It's like mini gentrification, manufactured gentrification, as we call it, basically, where a buyer is okay with not being in like the super hot areas and they're going to get a better price. So instead of paying $1 million here, you're going to pay like $600,000, $700,000 for a home outside the area. Number 3, now at the better price, they sign all the paperwork. So once a buyer comes in, you say, look, would you buy a house here, here, or here? right outside these areas for 700 or 800,000, then you talk to the new home builder and you say, this buyer wants to buy a house for 700,000 or 800,000. What would the cost have to be for the lot and the land? And they'll tell you, they'll say, I can't pay more than 300,000. So if you go and find anything that's like 200,000 or 150 or 180, the difference, if you're thinking ahead, is what you're going to get. But you work that out with the builder, and then the buyer signs all the paperwork. They basically do a half closing, but you haven't found the lot yet. You haven't found the house yet. You're about to go out and do that. So now they've signed all the paperwork with the house that they have. They're basically going to hire, once you find the lot in the house, they're basically going to hire that builder to be a custom builder for them. Now the closing just depends on you finding the property. You got to find a house or a lot nearby in those B and C areas. They're not really objectively B and C areas, but compared to that hot area, it's going to be a little bit off, right? So now we've got screen the properties until the buyer likes it and is good with the lot and home. So once you find a house, you can do these right off of Zillow, because what is the biggest thing? I mentioned that in the video. How do you flip companies? How do you make 30 grand a month per deal? How do you do that? You got to have a secret weapon. It's like when we work with the hospitals and we know the hospital's closing and we're going to get all their clients. We can go buy a clinic, right? And we don't need to find a great deal because we're going to create a great deal. Remember, great deals are never found. They're always made, right? You want to be someone who makes a good deal. And that's how you have the secret weapon now. You have a buyer that's going to buy a property for 800,000. They've already signed with the builder. The builder told you, look, go find me a lot and a land. I'll pay you 300,000. I can pay up to 250, 280, 300, 400,000, whatever, right? And now you're going to go look at properties and you're going to find them for 200, 300,000. Now you might think, well, can't the builder do it on their own? They can. They never will. They don't like to market. They're not very good. Also, you're building a 77, having a beautiful conversation. Remember, when it comes to doing anything, you're either trained, you know what you're doing, or you're just guessing. These people are just guessing. They just want to build houses. That's all they want to do. So it's easy to get these arrangements set up. Now, what do you do next? After you find a property, you keep screening a property until you find one that the buyer's like, yeah, that's perfect. That location, that area, that lot, perfect. If we build a house right there, I'm good. And once they're good with that, what happens? Now you close. Basically what happens is the buyer is going to buy, you write an option on that house for 300,000 or whatever. And the buyer is going to buy, you're basically buying that house. The builder's going to buy that house and the buyer is hiring the builder to build that house. So they've already got the plans and everything. It's a house just like the one they called about that you did a GXM with, only they're going to build that house in right outside the hot area. You get what I'm saying? So now the buyer hires the builder to basically build a custom home. You met the criteria and you came in below the budget, so the difference is yours. This is how you can make 30 plus 50. I think the record is like $110,000. So and they could have made more on that deal. It was like 150 they could have made. They gave the builder a break because the builder said, look, I'll pay 400,000. They found a house for like 150, 200,000. They had a really good deal on a property that was outside the area. The buyer said, yeah, I want it. Because think about this, guys, once the buyer says, yeah, that lot works for me, that area works for me. And the more time that goes by, the more motivated, the more serious they get, the more hungry the buyer's like, okay, fine, anything will work for me, right? So once the buyer says, yeah, that lot works for me, and you know how much it's going to cost to tear down, you already talked to the builder about those costs, you know how much the builder can pay. He can pay 300,000. So if they like one that you can get for 200,000, that's 100 grand spread. You get what I'm saying? Now you don't want to it's not highway robbery. You don't want to make as much money as possible. You want to make the builder as much money as possible. That's why a lot of these deals, we come in below where you could. 30 grand is nothing. The fastest we've had, I think, was 4 or 5 days. A week, you could do it. I wouldn't say that's realistic if you're starting out. Well, I mean, you could do it in a week. Yeah, if you're hungry, you'll do it in less than a week. If you're a dickhead, it'll take forever, just like anything else. But this is an easy process to get going. Those are the 7 steps. I'll run through them real quick. First, find a builder, do a GXM, put out signs, ads, buyers list. Remember, you never need anything more than signs, ads, and your buyers list to move any property anywhere in the world. Number 2, screen buyers until you find one that's okay with a B plus or an outside of that hot area, right? That's what you need. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll move out. I'll spend 800,000 or 700,000 and go a little bit outside this hot area. Once you've got that, you're good, because now with that better price, they sign all the paperwork. That's step 3. Number 4, now closing just depends on them finding a house. If you find a house or a lot nearby. Number 5, screen properties until the buyer likes the lot and is good with the home there. Once you've found that, now 6, you finish the closing. You close, the buyer basically hires the builder to build a custom home. 7, you met the criteria and came in below the budget, so the difference is yours. So it could be 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. House is right off Zillow because you have a secret weapon. But what if it doesn't happen, by the way? What if you find a property and there is no spread? Well, you put a gun in your mouth and you pull the trigger, right? Because what's the point of living? No, go ahead and give it to them. What's the worst that happened? You went through the process. You found a buyer. You were able to change their lives. Good thing they called you because you're amazing. Good thing you met me. Change lives. You can help the builder out. And it's amazing what happens when people know you didn't make money, but you're just as excited and enthusiastic because you changed someone's life. It's pretty amazing. So worst case scenario, you change somebody's life. You won't look as good as me, but you can still help people. That's how you get a secret weapon. You flip houses off Zillow for 30 grand in less than a week. I'd say 30 days, but you could do it in less than a week. If you're not a dickhead, I love you.